Just ahead on CTV News.
In just a moment, we'll mark the one-year anniversary of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse, what Governor Wes Moore has to say on the progress that has been made and what still has to be done.
More information is revealed about what was said in the now infamous group chat conversations about U.S. military bombings in Yemen. Tonight on CTV News, we speak with a cybersecurity expert all about this incident, coming up on CTV News.
Here at Northwest Stadium, Intuit is hosting a financial literacy forum for high school students, and they're getting some special help from the Washington Commanders. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have that story and more coming up on CTV News.
Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for March 26th. I'm Mariah Jalad. Thanks for joining us. Well, today marks the one-year anniversary of the devastating collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Our Michaela Newton was at an event this morning that commemorated that day and joins us now with a look at the impact this tragedy has had on the community and what's been done in the year since. Michaela?
Well, today marks the one-year anniversary of the tragic Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse, a disaster that shook the city and claimed lives and disrupted the region's transportation network. A somber day as Governor Moore and state officials remembers the lives lost on March 26, 2024.
This morning, we gathered back to where we started, in the same place, at the same time.
They're reporting that the middle section of the bridge collapsed into the water, and there are unknown amounts of people and or vehicles in the water.
1 year ago today, Baltimore's Key Bridge collapsed after being struck by the Dolly container vessel, claiming the lives of 6 people. Since the collapse, the state has made significant progress in rebuilding the bridge, with construction crews working around the clock.
Now work is well underway on the governor's 4th directive to rebuild the bridge.
Marylanders of this generation and the next will look up and once again see the Francis Scott Key Bridge standing tall, and you have my word on that.
Just last month, Governor Moore unveiled the new design for the bridge, and pre-construction activities are underway. But the family continues to mourn.
Concrete and steel can be replaced. The laughter of a father, the embrace of a husband, the future of 6 men, these are lost forever.
And right now, the family is still looking for closure, seeking answers from the FBI on who actually is responsible for this tragedy. Reporting in Baltimore County, I'm Michaela Newton for CTV News.
Thank you, Michaela. And last week, the National Transportation Safety Board recommended that 30 bridge owners across 19 states assess the risk of collapse from vessel collisions. This comes as part of the investigation into the bridge collapse. And a fierce fight in Annapolis as House Democrats push through a sweeping tax and spending plan. After nearly 7 hours of debate, lawmakers advanced a $67 billion budget package, including over $1 billion in new taxes. Democrats say it safeguards education and health care, while Republicans call it a tax grab that hits working families hard. GOP lawmakers also slammed Democratic leaders for shutting down the debate, calling it a marginalization of their voices. A final vote could come today, sending the plan to the Senate with less than 2 weeks left in the session. And a controversial power grab or a push for election security. President Trump has signed a sweeping executive order overhauling how Americans vote. It requires voters to show proof of citizenship to register in federal elections, mandates all ballots be received by Election Day, and bans machines that use QR codes.
Election fraud, you've heard the term. We'll end it, hopefully. At least this will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other.
And legal experts say Trump's order overreaches his authority, saying that the Constitution gives Congress and the states power to regulate elections, not the president. Lawsuits are already on the way, with critics warning millions could lose their right to vote. Meantime, no regrets. That's the message from Trump voters in Maryland. Despite budget shortfalls and federal job cuts hitting the state hard, a new report shows supporters remain all in on the president. Many admit the president's policies are hurting the state, but say it's a necessary pain to shrink government and rebuild the economy. One voter put it bluntly, saying, quote, "It's bad for Maryland now, but good for America in the long run." And new bombshell details emerged from a journalist that was added accidentally to a group chat conversation with top Trump administration officials. Questions continue to swirl over why these government leaders used Signal, a messaging app, to communicate. CTV's Katara Jones talks with a cybersecurity expert on this unprecedented security breach.
That's right, Mariah. This security breach has shaken up Washington, and calls are growing for an investigation. I've spoken with Dr. Caleb Charles, a cybersecurity expert with over 20 years of experience as an information security analyst. He says top-level Trump officials shouldn't have been using Signal, a messaging app, to discuss military operations.
Once you cross the line and go into what is considered classified information, top secret information, there's process, procedures, and protocols to be able to do that.
Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, revealed on Monday that he was accidentally added to a group chat by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. In that group chat, top-level Trump administration officials discussed a military bombing operation in Yemen that took place earlier this month. The conversations took place on Signal. Dr. Charles says there are ways in which government officials can securely discuss top-secret classified information.
There are protocols and facilities in place, such as the Sensitive Compartment Information Facilities, also known as a SCIF. And there's also classified communication, such as, the SIPRNet, the NIPRNet. So there are classified components that are available.
On Tuesday, some of those Trump officials who were on the group chat were grilled on Capitol Hill and denied that the information they shared was classified information. But today, The Atlantic released more of the group chat conversation, which included airstrike times by American attack jets and drone targets, which some have said is classified information. With a spotlight on this issue, how can everyday Americans safeguard their own communications on apps? Dr. Charles says there are apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, and even Signal that Americans can use to have secure conversations.
If you do want your communications to be private, you need to understand the app that you're using, and you also need to understand the configurations of those particular apps. But, everyone does deserve privacy.
Dr. Charles says one lesson we can all take away from this security breach debacle is to know what you're communicating.
If you're communicating business information pertaining to, a law case or some sort of merger, you want to make sure that that information is protected, because there are individuals that are out there that are actively always trying to gain information for competitive advantage, for bribery purposes.
Meantime, to safeguard your own security and privacy, Dr. Charles also recommends to keep your devices like laptops and cell phones up to date. In regards to this security breach, he does feel that an investigation into the incident needs to happen. Back to you, Mariah, at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Katara, and make sure you stay tuned to CTV News. We'll be continuing to update you as this story develops. And a big win for gun regulation at the nation's highest court. The Supreme Court has upheld the Biden administration's rules on ghost guns. In a 7-2 ruling, the justices said gun kits sold online do count as firearms, meaning they now require serial numbers, background checks, and age verification. The untraceable weapons have been linked to a rise in violent crime. But since the rule took effect in 2022, major cities, including New York and Baltimore, have seen ghost gun numbers drop. But the future's unclear as the Trump administration is reviewing whether to roll back the regulation. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Mariah Jalad. Still to come, law enforcement and community leaders gathered today for a domestic violence coffee chat. After the break, find out what resources are being offered in the county. Back in a moment.
When I first met you, I had a newborn son, and throughout that process, you introduced yourself into my life.
The tremors, the body shakes, those things I'll never forget.
You're in my brain, you're in my spine, and because you're in those places, you're in every part of me.
When I got the MRI, I was like, that's a shocking turn. I'm not supposed to live with the mess.
So these tears is actually joy because of all the things I can do.
I became stronger the moment you told me that I'd never be strong again.
If I can face MS, I can face anything.
A cure for me would be to go back to where I was.
A cure would stop you dead in your tracks.
And when we get you, it's going to be a great day.
We gotta end this cycle. It ends here.
MS ends with us.
Welcome back. A Laurel teenager is now in custody for the murder of a Largo man Tuesday night. The shooting happened at a gas station parking lot in the 7600 block of Marlboro Pike. A sergeant who was in the area heard a gunshot and saw the teen open fire. The officer was able to grab the suspect and recover the gun. The victim, 39-year-old Leo Addison, was taken to the hospital where he later died. Investigation shows the teen shot Addison during an argument, and they did not know each other beforehand. And the man charged with the killing of a grandmother in Prince George's is sentenced to 85 years in prison, the maximum sentence for his multiple charges. In March 2023, 62-year-old Lydia Chinchilla de Carrillo was gunned down by 39-year-old Troy Medley while she was the passenger in a car. De Carrillo was visiting from El Salvador for her grandson's funeral. Prince George's State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy tried the case and asked for the maximum sentence for this horrific crime.
In this case, you had a grandmother who was the matriarch of her family, who was there to take care of her family. Her life was taken away by someone she didn't even know, a perfect stranger.
Medley's charges include second-degree murder, first-degree assault, use of a handgun, and possession by a prohibited person. And Maryland parents are urging Attorney General Anthony Brown to enforce and defend protections for kids online. The Kids Code Coalition, made up of parents of kids impacted by social media harms, asked Attorney General Brown to act against a lawsuit from the biggest tech companies targeting the Maryland Kids Code. The Kids Code was signed into law last year and requires privacy by default for online products and services likely to be used by kids and teens under 18. Last month, a lawsuit was filed on behalf of companies like Meta and Google to stop the Kids Code. Parents are asking Attorney General Brown to fight the lawsuit and give a public comment defending the Kids Code. And law enforcement and elected leaders hosted a domestic violence coffee chat today for advocates and residents. Prince George's County Sheriff John Carr and District 2 Councilmember Wanika Fisher and others gathered at a Chick-fil-A restaurant in Clinton to talk about resources that are available. Advocates discussed their needs, and residents had an opportunity to discuss what's being done to combat the issue.
So the end game here is one, notification and trying to advise our citizens on what to look for as far as domestic violence. Two is really getting that message out as we talk about family violence. And that's one of the biggest things we really want to focus on. It's just not intimate partners. We also have other relationships, brother, sister, we have father, son, mother, daughter. So we want to get that message out.
It's really important that these issues are clearly exacerbating and beyond just partner violence. The numbers are increasing in domestic violence, which means we need to double down not only our efforts, but our resources and our community advocacy.
And earlier this month, Wanika Fisher announced her candidacy to replace Aisha Braveboy to be the next state's attorney for Prince George's County. And State Senator Alonzo Washington is taking a victory lap. Legislation he introduced would regulate how auto insurance companies can use driving data. The measure would limit the amount of driving data the companies can collect, and the bill would also prohibit insurers from using the data to cancel or renew policies. The bill now goes to the House Economic Matters Committee. And some lawmakers in Annapolis are considering an amended bill that could expedite new power plants, rein in utility spending, and end a subsidy for trash burning. Supporters say the goal is to lower costs for consumers. In a 2-hour session yesterday before a Senate committee, debate focused on the so-called Legislative Energy Hardship Credit. Money for the rebates would come from the Strategic Energy Investment Fund, a state account that utilities pay into as a penalty for not meeting certain renewable energy requirements. The measure is before the Senate Economic Matters Committee. And still to come on CTV News, the University of Maryland has announced the commencement speaker for their spring graduation, and here's a hint. He's an author, actor, and even has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Find out who it is after the break.
It's cancer.
Well, American consumer confidence is on the decline. According to the Conference Board Business Group, the Consumer Confidence Index fell 7.2 points in March for the 4th straight month. This is the lowest reading since January of 2021. Americans' short-term expectations for income, business, and the job market also fell 9.6 points. This is a 12-year low, which experts say is an indicator that a recession is looming. Meantime, the hotel at the University of Maryland has been ranked the 7th best hotel in Maryland by U.S. News and World Report. The rankings identify the best hotels based on industry awards, guest reviews, and hotel class ratings. The 297-room hotel was also lauded as the best in College Park and number 25 for tourists visiting the D.C. area. This makes the 4th consecutive year that the hotel has ranked in the top 10. And financial literacy can seem daunting, especially when you're young. That's why Intuit brought together some special people to make it a little bit easier. CTV's Bryce Parker is in Landover with more.
The keys to setting up a successful financial future is rooted in a great head start. And here at Northwest Stadium, Intuit is partnering with the Washington Commanders to give some local high school students the tools they need to set up a great foundation.
I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of things, and so, a lot of times leadership is just sharing your scars, and so it's not just on the football field. It's like financial decisions that I made, financial decisions that I saw, and just trying to kind of speed up some of the learning that I didn't get when I was growing up.
Thanks to Intuit, these high school students got a chance to learn more about financial literacy, and what better motivation to start early than to hear it from some of the area's biggest stars.
I really use my platform to make sure I'm inspiring, motivating the next generation. I think it's super important. I have a lot of eyes on me, not only on the court, but off the court as well. So to kind of show that there's more to the sport, the ball's going to stop bouncing one day, and I want to make sure that these kids are set up to success.
This event provided panels and workshops centered around budgeting, credit, and taxes, changing the students' outlook on what it means to be financially literate and their attitude towards chasing that goal.
I didn't know what the trip was about, but I'm loving it right now because I get to learn a lot of things about financial literacy, how to save, checking accounts, and stuff like that.
Life skills that Edwards and Wagner hope these students will take with them long after they are done rooting for their favorite Washington teams.
I think it's a great opportunity of just for the high school students to see two pro athletes and just hear about them, learn from them, gain some knowledge, and then ultimately apply it. So definitely grateful to be here and to be kind of that representation that they need.
You know, you hope that you taught them to work hard but not compare yourself to other people, that everybody's on their own journey. And so just because somebody further in their journey doesn't mean that your journey is not successful. So just focusing on your journey and, you know, what's meant for you will come to you.
In Landover, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
Thanks, Bryce. And today's event welcomed 400 high school students from all across the DMV area. Well, he's an international superstar, a best-selling author, and a self-described amphibitarian. And now he's the University of Maryland's 2025 commencement speaker.
I guess it's me.
Kermit the Frog, whose creator Jim Henson graduated from UMD in 1960, will impart some green wisdom onto the College Park campus. In the announcement, UMD President Daryl Pine said the community is so fortunate to welcome Kermit back to campus to celebrate Terrapin excellence. The ceremony will take place on May 21st at SECU Stadium. And now Simon Buggs is here with our Wednesday sports page.
Don't move, guys, because coming right up, Terps offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton shares what he wants to see from the team's offense in 2025. Stay tuned.
My mom is a veteran and she was injured in the line of duty.
I hurt my leg in a training accident when she was only 2 years old.
She had 7 different surgeries over the span of 9 years, and there were tons of complications.
I couldn't be the mom my kids needed me to be.
She missed so much.
After my last surgery, I got an infection so bad I thought it was going to kill me.
I told her she couldn't leave me yet. There was still so much she had to see. I hadn't even graduated.
I'm doing much better now. I'm an active part of my kids' lives.
She can kick a mean soccer ball.
DAV's been there for me and my family. Through thick and thin, they've had our back.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans like Sandy get the health and disability benefits they've earned so they can achieve victories great and small.
My victory is getting my life back. I may have lost my leg, but I've gained so much. I got my joy back.
We got our mom back, thanks to DAV.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
What's going on, sports fans? It's time for your Wednesday sports page. Now it's an exciting time over in College Park as the Terps football team has some new faces joining the coaching staff this season. One in particular is the squad's new offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton. Hamilton brings over 25 years of coaching experience with him to Maryland. The North Carolina native even worked at the NFL level, serving as the OC for the Houston Texans and Indianapolis Colts. I caught up with Hamilton yesterday, and he told me his vision for the Terps offense in 2025.
We want guys that are tough, smart, and reliable. And so that's been, it's been really just, we've asked our guys to really embrace terms and an approach that you don't often hear in the football space. We want them to submit to the program, submit to our process, and embrace being a great teammate. We hold the team in high regard. We de-emphasize ourselves.
Meantime, the Burgundy and Gold shook up their roster recently as it traded for All-Pro receiver Deebo Samuel. Samuel will look to add even more juice to a Commanders offense that was already ranked as a top 10 unit last season. The one-time Pro Bowler brings a lot of winning experience to Washington as he made multiple NFC Championship games and Super Bowls with his previous team, the San Francisco 49ers. The 29-year-old did speak recently, and he's ready to make an impact with his new team.
They can motivated Deebo too. We're going to get a dog out here. I'm ready to come in here and work right alongside of Terry. We got drafted together. Like I just said, he been playing at a high level for the past 6 years. We're going on 7, so they kind of consider us old, but I don't consider us old. I think these young legs still moving. His body's still working pretty well. I'm just ready to get to work.
Looking forward to seeing you ball out for my team, Deebo. And there's some high school action on the diamond right now, baseball fans, as Laurel is hosting Wise. Flowers is trying to get their second win of the year versus Duval. And finally, the Suitland Rams are attempting to get their first win of the season against Northwestern. All games began at 4:30. And wrapping up sports, the Great Chase continues for Washington Capitol star Alexander Ovechkin, as after scoring 1 goal in the team's 3-2 loss against the Winnipeg Jets last night, the Russian native is now just 6 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky for the most goals scored all time. Ovi and the rest of the team will be back in action against the Minnesota Wild tomorrow at 7:30. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly clear out. Tomorrow it's going to be nice and sunny with a high of 59. Friday will be sunny with a high of 68, but grab your umbrellas. We'll have some rain in the afternoon. Saturday will reach a high of 78, and showers are expected Saturday night as well. And for our community calendar, this Monday is the deadline for Bowie residents to register for Low Mow April. The initiative allows for residents to grow out their grass up to 8 inches without being fined, and it was created to help foster a habitat for pollinators. All participants must register their household at cityofbowie.org. For more information or any questions, contact the sustainability planner at the email on your screen. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
Hello, I'm Sandra F. Peaches, Executive Director of Prince George's Community Television. I'm reaching out today with an urgent message. CTV needs your help. The county's current proposed budget is about to silence your voice. The proposed budget presented to the County Council calls for the closing of PGCTV in the upcoming fiscal year. For more than 40 years, Prince George's Community Television has been your independent voice in the community, providing essential news related to county events, the people, and services. Most importantly, our volunteer public access producers create hundreds of hours of programming each year. The programming that tells the stories of people in Prince George's County. We connect residents to critical information, provide a voice for underrepresented communities, and help to foster a deeper sense of connection within the diverse communities residing in our county and state. We're known as a hub for career development, having provided invaluable internships and volunteer opportunities for hundreds of young people, helping them build futures in broadcasting and film. Our success stories are both in front of and behind the lens at every local network in the DMV and countless others throughout the United States. If we lose Prince George's Community Television, we not only lose a place for hands-on learning, but also the voice and connection that helps our community be informed and united. This is your station. Do not let your voice be silenced. Please contact the Prince George's County Council. Ask that PGCTV, the voice of the county, be saved and fully funded. Together, we can make a difference.